So thank you for those of you that have been bothering Jocelyn about having kids since we got married almost 13 years ago. Welcome to On the Couch. I'm Josh Coan.
I'm Jocelyn.
I think we do that different every time. Sometimes I help introduce you. Sometimes
and this time you said Josh Coan. I feel like usually you don't say your last name.
Oh, maybe for privacy reasons we shouldn't say. Except for it's
literally says joshcoan.com.
Oh yeah, that's right. We want them to know Josh Coan.
Yeah.
joshcoan.com. This episode is brought to you by joshcoan.com if you're looking for any video needs.
I think you say that every time.
Well, I gotta get the word out. Yeah. I mean, nobody else is paying us to say their name, so might as well say my own name. If you need videos, I'm a storyteller first, so that's important to me that we share your story. Quality, affordable storytelling is what I say at joshcoan.com. COAN. Check it out if you need any video work done.
That sounded like it could be a radio ad.
Maybe it should be. Yeah. Maybe I should send that to KTIS and see if they
I don't think anybody listens to the radio anymore, so I don't know if that's super helpful.
No, I think they listen to podcasts, which is hopefully they're listening to this right now.
What's on the docket for today?
The docket for today. Do you have any producer's note today? Last time you had a producer's note.
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't think so. If I did, I didn't write it down, so I don't know.
I wrote some things down, but no producer notes. I think just a flawless episode last time. I don't think we had any specific.
Oh, I would like to say something about our last episode.
Yes.
I would like to say that we already knew this, but I was right because everybody agreed with me about the Juicy Lucy's.
I don't know about everybody.
A lot of people did.
Your friends did?
Well.
If that counts.
It does count.
I heard some people with some you don't have great defenses because the defense is it's fun and it's Minnesota, so you're supposed to like it. But I got a couple recommendations of some Juicy Lucy's we should try.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so maybe we should try a couple of Juicy Lucy's. Try some different ones.
Willing to try them, but I'm not going to eat them on a regular basis.
Yes, well.
But I just would like to let it be known for the record.
For the record, her friends agreed with her.
No, a lot of people did, not just my friends.
Yeah. Okay, today's topic is, well, once again, we should Jocelyn Coan for school board in Okanagan. If you live in Area 3, Champlin, Dayton, and Western Coon Rapids, vote for Jocelyn Coan. Back to the basics. We have two sponsors, me and my mom. Look, if you're getting annoyed at me promoting my own stuff, then give us a sponsorship. If you pay us money, I will promote you. Okay, today's topic is, back to the drum roll, if you want to do that. It's probably really annoying to those listening. I'm just calling it annoying Christians. I don't know. It's things that we as Christians do, and I'm going to include myself and you as well. I don't know how much of this you do, but we are Christians. We both grew up in the church.
To be honest with you.
I know that I do have done some of this stuff before, so you have to say that so that it's not like just attacking people. Yeah. You have to, as a Christian, I've done some of these things before, and this is just stuff that we as Christians probably need to stop doing.
I think we can attack people. That's okay. I think we need to bring back more aggressive calling out of people's behaviors. In the year 2025, so I think that we can call people out. You can
call people out. I'm gonna try to be nice about it.
Okay, that
I feel like that
checks out.
If you know us, sums us up pretty well. So the first thing that I'm gonna say, and this is a phrase, and I think I can probably share a lot about this and get into maybe some trauma stuff that I should talk to my therapist about. But essentially, it's the phrase, "Make some noise if you love Jesus." And there's a lot to unpack. You can just comment on. I'm the one that did the prep work, obviously, with the notes and things. You can just comment if you have any on this. Sure. But this is just like we were at a church, and they said this from the stage. And it's just one of those things that, like, first of all, it just annoys me. Because I'm like, I don't want to make some noise.
Name of the list, yeah.
Whether I love Jesus or not isn't really... How much noise I make is not indicative of how much I love Jesus.
One of us read books in this relationship. I'm just kidding. You've been doing a lot of reading lately.
Yeah, exactly. I read a book once. But no,
Yes,
I
it's
just
not indicative of you actually loving Jesus.
yes, I think it sounds annoying to say.
It feels very similar to like those things on social media. Specifically, I feel like I see them on Facebook because that's where all of like the older people are. But they're like, oh yeah, you have to repost this if you love Jesus and those types of things. Like, I do love Jesus, and I'm not gonna share.
No,
I'm not gonna give you
Jesus
engagement.
doesn't care. Yeah, you can't religiously manipulate me, guilt me into that.
Giving you engagement.
No,
That's how it feels when a church says it. It feels like you're baiting me into giving you engagement.
Yes. Yeah. No, I was talking with a friend a while back, but we were talking about how like he was in a church service, in like a youth service, and he kind of got like called out from the stage because he wasn't like jumping up and down and dancing like during worship. And those of us that friends of us know of a specific story.
I was gonna say that's a mild version of the story, but yeah.
Well, no, this is a different story than the one. There was one that was
something in my coffee.
Oh. Pause while we investigate what's in Jocelyn's coffee.
Where did it go?
Maybe there was nothing there to begin with.
Nope.
Oh yeah, that is something. Is that a bug or something?
I don't know.
I don't know if I would drink that. I was about to shout out a sponsor of the coffee, but if there's a bug in it, we probably don't want to draw attention to them.
Continue on your story.
Yes, there's a specific story that I think you're thinking of that was like years ago.
Yes, that is what I'm thinking of.
And that one was it's a terrible situation. It was pretty bad. We had a good portion of our youth leave the service.
We probably shouldn't go into that too much.
Yes. But the one I'm talking about is something different. But it happens where people think that if you're not like jumping up and down and shouting during worship, then they're like some of us just aren't those kind of people that do that.
Yes.
That don't show a lot of, I'm not a big enthusiastic kind of person. Another thing I was just reminded of a conversation because I had a conversation with somebody else yesterday about how people will say stuff like, which is similar, but like, oh, you can make a lot of noise at the Vikings game, but you can't cheer for Jesus. And I'm like, it's a very different situation.
Yeah.
And I don't actually make a lot of noise for the Vikings. Usually it's silence. I jump off the couch and I don't.
You don't make a lot of positive noise.
Well, yes.
I will say you probably.
Well, that's the Vikings' fault.
Yeah.
Typically.
Or the Wolves. In general, you talk a lot to the TV while you're watching sports.
Yes. The Wolves, that's a different thing because the refs were really bad this year.
Really bad.
They've been really bad as of late. And now that's something that I've noticed. Now that the Wolves games matter, they're very stressful.
It's very stressful.
It was really easy to watch the Wolves
I didn't even watch some of those Western Conference Finals games.
20 years because their games didn't matter.
I cannot be calm while watching a sporting event. It doesn't matter if it could be the most random teams in the world playing.
That's the thing is when you get invested.
I'm going to pick one of those teams, and if they start, it's going to be a problem for me.
It's annoying when it's like I don't even care about these two teams, but now I'm into it.
Yeah, that's what we were watching. I actually think it was a Lakers series. Must have been like the one close game, but my watch thought that I was exercising because I was burning calories while I was watching the Lakers game because I was stressed out.
Because yes, there was a couple of close games. We won that series in 5, so Wolves in 5. Right?
Anyways, continue with your list.
Continue with my list. Okay, that's enough on that. Number 2 is honestly, it's not even like it's an overuse of this, but even in general, like whenever I hear it, it kind of annoys me, which is maybe something I need to work on because maybe it's a trigger or something. I don't know. But when you say like God told me, and I fully believe that God speaks to us. I believe God speaks to me, to you watching. Absolutely. But I think so many Christians have used that as like you can't argue with what I'm saying right now because God told me. Like, I'm going to do this because God told me. And if you think I'm wrong in whatever I'm saying right now, that's on you missing God.
Yeah.
And then we end up like...
We need to get a comfier couch up here. Ugh, that was not a good
I mean,
idea.
we sit on here for an hour every other week. I feel like we don't need a
I just
more
like,
comfortable couch.
I move so much while we're podcasting.
Yes.
Because it's not comfortable. That's why.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, continue.
But often we blame God, and then if the thing doesn't go right, then it's like it's almost like we it's like takes it off of us. Like, oh, but God told me this. And it's like, well, I believe you hear from God, but we all hear imperfectly. Like,
yeah,
we
I
have
think
our
we
own
still view
thoughts
things
and
through
desires.
our own lenses.
Yeah.
Which can make a difference.
Yes.
Also, I think this was a more recent thing with some of our life changes that we did. People had opinions about it and would say, oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to move to
like
places.
God told them to do stuff. Like God told them like, what we were going to do. And it's like, no.
Like, that's cool. I hear from the Lord for myself. So
yeah.
If he wants me to do that, then he will tell me that, not you.
Yes. And this is a free tip for those watching. I guess all of this is free. We're not making anyone pay for this. But if someone tells you God told them something about you, like, unless it's confirming something that you're already talking to God about, like, don't listen to what they're saying.
Yes.
Because
maybe like
God is not going to, God can
later.
speak through other people, but he's not going to only speak through other people. Extreme example is, and growing up in the church and going to a Christian college, you hear people like, oh, God told me I'm going to marry this person or whatever. I know a lot of pastors have told stories about how some person came up to them afterward and was like, God told me. No, God does not do that. Certainly doesn't without telling the other person. Yes. We did have somebody, maybe this is too much, I'll edit it out, somebody that we knew that told me that he knew who I was going to marry. He didn't tell me who it was though.
Oh.
But it turns out it was you.
Yeah, we're not going to give him credit for that.
Yeah, no, definitely not giving him credit. I'm definitely not going to say his name because I don't want him to think that he's responsible for that. But your mom is the one that said something about us before.
Yes, and I said,
you were
ew,
even
mommy's
interested.
old.
Yes. Wow.
True story.
True story. Any more to say on that?
Nope.
I remember, actually, I'll say one more thing. When Dr. James was here with the interns, he had said, like, caution people so much. Maybe it was with the interns, it was at the church service, but he said, caution people on using, like, God told me, because that can very easily, like, slip into, like, spiritual manipulation.
Oh, for sure.
And, like, you can just say, like, I'm feeling this way, or, like, I think this. Like, you don't have to, I don't know, he was like, more often than not, you don't need to say it. Even if you really strongly believe God told you, there's very few times when you actually need to, like, say that. Yeah. And if you don't listen to me, listen to Dr. James Tan. He reads a lot more than I do. Probably even more than you.
Yeah. He probably reads more productive things than I do.
Yeah. Okay. The next one is, I'm just going to say, like, touchy Christians, or Christians that, like, hug too much.
Christians are touchy.
Christians are touchy, and they hug, and, like...
Yeah, that was one thing that really got to me working at a church.
Yes.
People would hug each other, and I am sitting there going, we are co-workers.
This is not super professional.
We don't need to hug right now. Like, what I remember... It doesn't matter. I don't care. I watched somebody go up and hug our chief of staff at the end of a meeting, and I thought,
that's weird.
Like, he's your boss. He is your boss, and you are just gonna, like, I don't get it. Sorry, that was an accidental clap.
It's okay.
I don't get it in general. I do think I am, like, a kind of touchy person.
Well, your family is, because even with your family, I need to set rules about how often they can hug me.
Yeah, but it just is weird to me. It's weird. But I think that working at a church there's some blurry lines, because we're like, oh, we're all a family. And I'm like, no, we're co-workers. Yeah. We're both paid to be here. So we're co-workers, so we don't need to act like this. But that's a
different
conversation
to church,
for a different day.
People use the word church family, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, although if you could put on this list, if Kanisha was making this list, she would say church family. Yeah. Because she hates that.
She hates that phrase.
But even just like, valid. If I go to your church, like, we're not automatic, we're not,
you know?
Yeah. No, absolutely overused.
And I get it. Like, technically, that's what the Bible says. I get, brothers and sisters in Christ. But, like, that doesn't mean that...
Well, first, I don't hug my own brothers and sisters very often.
That's actually very true. But also, that doesn't mean that, like, you have to be close with everybody.
No.
And I think people get confused.
No, especially if you go to like a big church. Like that's a big family and you're not that close with everyone in your family.
Yeah.
I don't know. But also like one that really sticks in my head is that we were at church. This wasn't even that long ago. But I was like noticing out of the corner of my eye these just people, and they hugged, and then as they were leaving, they were walking away, the guy said to the girl, "Nice to meet you."
What?
And I was like, this was the first time you met this person and you just hugged? I'm like, that's just one, I think it devalues a hug.
Yeah.
I just think it doesn't have, when it's like you
That's
have to hug
weird.
everybody there.
Maybe he was just trying to cop a feel.
And that's the other thing too. Like, I know we all like to think that everybody in a church is,
Nah.
but some people just want a little extra physical attention. I'll just say that. I don't know.
That's true.
And I just don't think, I'm just not a big fan of like that.
Yes.
And that'll even lead to my next point of just too friendly overall. And I know this is like a weird thing because look, you should be friendly. Like, you can be nice and welcoming without being like over the top, like friendly and obnoxious.
I think maybe friendly just wasn't the right word choice.
Yeah, but maybe not. Maybe not. And you can come up with a better word for this. But like when you go to church and the people, it's one thing like shaking hands, like the welcome teams can be
if
too
you're
much.
a welcome team, don't touch me. If you're
That's
a
true.
greeter,
That's true.
there's no reason, 2020 should have taught us something. There's no reason that we need to have physical contact. You can greet me, you can look at me and say hi, welcome, da da da.
Yeah.
You don't need to touch me.
Shaking my hand does not help my church experience at all. Like it
No,
doesn't make me.
don't touch me.
No, you don't need to touch me.
In fact, I will make it weird for both of us if you try to touch
Wasn't
me.
there churches that did like stickers or wristbands for like different colors on during COVID of like?
I don't know if
like,
it was churches that did it. I know different things
thought
did it.
yeah, maybe I don't know. But I like that idea of if I don't know.
No,
Just
we
in
don't need a
general.
wristband to have
No.
proper physical boundaries.
Well, no, I'm not saying
Okay.
that. I'm saying even just like over the top. Some churches have a lot of energy when you walk in.
No, churches build their experience for extroverts.
Yes.
I, again, working at a church, sat in many an event meeting
Yeah.
where I had to say, okay, so speaking as an introvert, I would hate that. I
Yeah.
said that multiple times in meetings. Did it work? No, but I tried. Okay, so in
No,
general,
I've had
churches
conversations
build
with people.
their environments for outgoing, extroverted people.
Yes, because this might be the case in other companies and other places as well, but it's specifically in churches, a lot of the leadership are extroverts because they
They like people.
like people, they like to talk, they end up getting in these positions, and often in these rooms, there's no introvert speaking for them. Like I think of events when they're like, oh, we want lots of energy to make them feel welcome, they just get louder and they just like get in your face and like
You
if
have
you
more people assigned.
and I'm like that doesn't
it's like the big thing to have a sign.
yeah.
I
And
know.
I don't need more people to feel welcome. You want someone to feel welcome, learn their name and remember it next time they come back. But
Boop.
that's more work. And if I can say, extroverts typically don't do that.
Okay,
Not more work. I'm sure they work very hard, but they don't know people's names.
next.
Next one. Arguing with non-believers.
I feel like your last point is your most important point, so I want to make sure we get to that.
Okay, of course you think that. It's a
course
very
I
important
do.
point. They're all important points, though. All of my points are always important. I would never put anything on a list that's not important. You know me.
You make a lot of lists, though.
I do. I actually really love making lists. I realized this like recently.
How did you just realize this recently?
I don't know. I didn't realize.
You make lists.
I do make lists all the
for
time,
everything.
but I literally I made a list of things that I enjoy, and one of them is making lists. Like I just think I don't know. I know it's a weird thing.
You made a list that said you like making lists.
Well, yeah, I made a list of things that I'm like, okay, because I want to be more intentional with my time. And maybe this is a whole nother podcast for a whole
Probably
nother
is. We're
time.
trying
But
to
being
get to
more
your
intentional
next
with the
point
time.
here.
And so I wrote down like, instead of just scrolling mindlessly on my phone, what do
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to spend my time on? And I have different categories of like, okay, this is really cool, but it's going to be expensive. Like flying out to San Diego. But on the cheap free things
Yes.
was making lists.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep us on topic.
I know.
Here.
No, you're good at that. That's your job. You're comic relief and keeping us on topic, which usually isn't the same person, I feel like. Arguing. And maybe just arguing in general, because I feel like
Your
as Christians
family
fight a lot.
communicates through arguing, so I don't know if you should.
Yeah, sometimes.
like in a, they're not actually mad, but
well,
like.
and that's the thing is
that's
if we're having a conversation or if we're like having fun with it, like that's great. But I think so many Christians feel like it's their job to like. And I'm not saying don't share your faith, but like it's not your job to fully like convince and debate every single person you see all of the time.
No.
Specifically on social media, I hate arguing
I would
in
say
the comment
it's
sections.
hardly ever your place to do that.
And
actually.
Yeah, more often than not. I think there are some Christians that are like very intellectual, and they'll have. I'm thinking like that Cliff guy. I don't know if you've ever seen him. But people that like, they do apologetics, like that's part of their, I think there can be a calling to that. But I think most of us, like that's not our job to convince you. It's my job to represent Christ well and present to him to as many people as I can. But it's not my job to convince them. Like if you're not sure about it or if you disagree with me, go read the word for yourself. Go try to talk to God for yourself. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. And so I think Christians, too often we just like argue, specifically in the comment sections, but even just like
that's just
debates
annoying.
all the time. There's a verse in the Bible that says, always be ready to give a defense. And people use that, or be ready in season, out of season. But that's not talking about like, it's not necessarily saying be ready to like.
Well, it also said be ready. It doesn't say go confront
pick a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly.
That would be a prime example of people using scripture to do what they want.
Yes.
And prove their own points.
Which you could put on this list too.
Which
Don't take scripture out of context just to prove your own point.
Really annoying to me.
Yes.
Okay.
This next one, similar, arguing. I say this with all love and respect, but I think Christians discuss politics too much, and specifically argue politics too much.
Well, I think Christians don't know how to separate politics with their Christianity.
Yes.
And I get there's some argument of like, okay, Christians should be aware. We can't just like ignore the political space. And I get that. That's correct, because these people do run our countries. But I don't think that's what we're saying. That's not the point of what we're saying.
Correct. And I believe there are Christians that are called to the political sphere.
For sure.
And are supposed to go like bring Jesus into that, because I'm not saying Christians should avoid politics, because then the only people making the laws of our land are non-Christians, and that doesn't make any sense. Right?
No, but
I think as Christians, sometimes we often, again, pick fights that we don't need to, or we take stances on things in the wrong time and place, and we end up isolating people from hearing like the truth of the gospel because they're upset or offended by your political take. And I think I would hate to turn someone off from the gospel because they didn't agree with my politics. Now, I will say not all issues are created equal. Some of them are more, I guess, worth taking a stance on. But even then, you can take a stance without, like, again, picking fights.
yes.
Or, like, I feel like sometimes we unnecessarily pick fights, or we say, well, I'm speaking the truth.
It's always so aggressive.
It does feel aggressive.
Doesn't
Politics,
it?
especially now,
Yeah.
feels so aggressive.
It feels like all conversations are aggressive.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like they're conversations so much as it's arguing back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm not actually trying to have a conversation with you. I'm telling you this is the way it is. That's what it is.
Yeah, and we, as Christians, we're like, oh, we have the truth of the Bible, like, absolutely. But other than, like, the basics of the gospel, there is so much in my life that I'm humble enough to admit I might be wrong about. And so, like, people dig their heels on stuff that is, like, really? Like, is that 100% true? Like, do you know that for this fact, or can you see the other person's point of view?
Do you know what one of this isn't necessarily things that Christians do, to be honest with you. It's probably I don't know.
No.
But a current thing that I see a lot is people using Jesus to prove their point, specifically politically.
Yes.
Which is why it just made me think of
Yeah.
it. But they'll be like, well, Jesus wouldn't da 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 da, or Jesus would. I'm like,
Yeah.
you don't know what he would have done. First of all, he
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have done anything that you think he would have, because
Yes.
he thinks a whole lot bigger than we do and
Yeah.
had different solutions. You'll
Jesus
see it
didn't come to
again
build
and
an
again
earthly
and
kingdom
again in
anyways.
the Bible,
Yeah.
where they tried to make him pick sides and he would ignore their question completely and say something different. So
And he would
for
get
you
to
to
the
say
truth.
Jesus would be on this side of a political issue or this side of a political
Yeah.
issue is just false, because you can't say that. That's picking things out of, that goes back to picking things out of the Bible.
Yeah. Well,
To try to prove your own point.
Jesus was not a political figure. All right? Like he was not running for office. He was not creating human laws on this earth. So like what he says is not necessarily what is the law, and he's not telling what a senator should do because he was telling you to do this.
No, what his commandments are to Christians.
Yeah. But yeah, it's
So-
non-Christians will use that too. They'll be like, "Well, how do you vote this way
Yeah.
when Jesus says this?" But then I've heard people that vote Democrat say, "I don't know how you could be a Republican and be a Christian," and I've heard Republicans say, "I don't know how you can vote Democrat and be a Christian."
Yeah.
Like, it's not. I don't know. I think people just get that really mixed up. And again, I'm not saying that some people aren't. My mom is running for school board. She is a Christian. Yes. I think Christians should be involved in politics.
Yes.
But I think it's this idea of like when and where you like dig your heels on certain things.
Yes, I also, yeah. I just think that we mix the two too much.
Yes.
Like, yeah, if we're a Christian, it should be in everything that we do.
Yeah.
But politics shouldn't be in everything that a Christian does.
Ooh, that's good. The best thing I've ever heard about from a pastor from the stage discussing politics was, I'll say his name, Pastor Miles McPherson in San Diego. We live in San Diego. But I remember he did a message leading into the election. And he talked about when Jesus...
Oh, can you hear the siren?
I don't know if you're going to be able to hear the siren. I'm going to have to wait till the siren's done.
Don't worry, there's no storms. Just the dinner bell in
There's a
Osseo.
dinner bell in Osseo.
Oh, I shouldn't tell people where we live.
Oh.
I don't want people to find us.
Maybe you can bleep that out later. Or I'll bleep it out. But the best thing I've ever heard from a pastor on politics from the stage, Miles McPherson in San Diego, he was doing a series leading up to the election talking about politics, and one thing that Jesus did say about political leaders in his day was they were talking about like paying taxes.
Yeah. He said,
And
give to Caesar what is Caesar's.
he said, whose image is on this? And he said, render to Caesar what is Caesar's, render to God what is God's. And Pastor Miles said, give your vote to a politician, but give your heart to God. So many Christians tend to like put their heart and their hope in a politician,
their
a
hope
political
specifically,
figure,
yep.
one way or the other, and they get so defensive about their political figure. Again, it's important to vote. It's important to do your civic duty, the things that you believe in.
And be aware.
And be aware,
of, like,
absolutely.
what you're voting for, laws that are being passed.
And pray, regardless of who the leaders are, pray for them. But ultimately, like, give your heart to God. Like, Jesus didn't come to build an earthly kingdom. He said, render to Caesar what is Caesar's. That's fine. Do your civic duty. But ultimately, like, give your heart to God. And you're a Christian first. You're a servant of God first. Should have had a better way to end that. We'll see if I add it in later.
You just have to say it differently. You're a servant of God first.
You're a servant of God first. I don't really like the servant of God part either, though.
Well.
I was going to say like a citizen of heaven first. But I feel like that's one of those cliches that is annoying that Christians use.
Yeah, I don't love
and we're talking about annoying Christians and some of the things are the cliches that they say.
Yeah, that's one of them.
And that's one of them. That should be a whole thing. Like Christian cliches. Don't be so cliche about, there's so many things that Christians say that are just like, hedge of protection is one that bothers me. Or
I always think of like a row of bushes.
I think
hedges?
of a hedgehog for some reason, like a hedgehog that's like defending you, like maybe he's like been trained in martial arts or something.
Oh wow!
But he's like a hedgehog of protection. I don't know. Okay, you ready for the last one? This is the one you've been trying to get to this whole time.
Well, I just think it's important.
Yeah, no, it's very important and potentially controversial, and I'm
Shouldn't
okay
be.
with that.
Should not be.
Okay. It's annoying when Christians do not support women. You have any thoughts on that?
I just feel like I don't even know what you need to say.
Well, no,
That's a
so much of
period. End of sentence.
and there's a lot that could be done and said about this.
Yes.
But like specifically, we come from a church that has supported women very well.
Yep.
Has had female pastors. A woman helped start the church.
Yep.
Maybe actually started and then convinced her husband to come along.
Yep.
And the fact that Christians do not see the value in women leading and women in ministry is still, it's so frustrating. And obviously I'm a man. So according to you, the way that you guys think, I could be a pastor, right? But how, I just hate that you would like put that on saying my wife can't lead in the church, or that I've had conversations with younger females, right, working in youth ministry and young adults that like, oh, I feel called to the ministry, but I'm a woman and I know people that say women can't be pastors. And I'm like, you believe that the call of God is dependent on your gender? Like, and I'm not going to go through and like try to interpret the different scriptures and like put them in proper context and understand what it really means.
Again,
it is important, but I'm just not.
No, we don't have
gonna
time
go.
to
I don't want to have an argue and debate with you. And if you are a man, and I don't know, but specifically to women, like, do not let someone tell you you cannot do what God has called you to do just because you're a woman. I think that's so ridiculous and upsetting and frustrating that that's so much of the body of Christ that feels limited.
Yep.
And there's conversations about like, what does it mean if the man's the head of the household and head of the church? And like, I just think, I mean, it probably comes from like, I'm not going to use the phrase toxic masculinity, but a lot of men are so afraid to like allow women to speak into their lives and to lead in any way. So they just like suppress them. I don't know if that makes them feel better about themselves, if that's why they do it. You're awfully quiet over there. I'm not sure.
You're doing a really good job. I don't.
Do you have any thoughts on?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah,
but I
share
feel
some
like
of your thoughts.
You're doing a good job of explaining it.
Well, I want to hear some of your thoughts.
Well,
as a woman, if someone told you can't lead in ministry, or
well, you probably have to bleep out on this podcast what I would actually say to them. Listen, I mean, I grew up with, I grew up never, like, in a family. I guess I don't know the church that I grew up in. I'm assuming they're fine with women in ministry. I guess I don't technically know. But I was never raised. I mean,
your mom's a pastor right now.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
So I was never raised as like, oh, you can't do that because you're a woman. I was never raised that way. And yes, my mom is a pastor now, technically. And
she's not the head pastor, but she is a pastor.
Yeah, her and my dad are associate pastors. Or I mean, unless their church has like some fancy name. Some churches like to be
like elders.
Yeah.
It just sounds funny to be an elder. I was just talking to somebody who's
I don't know the
younger than me.
I don't know the technical
was made
description of
church.
an elder.
From my understanding, what I heard is it's basically like a pastor. It's just a different term of it. I don't know. Maybe leave in the comments the difference between elder and a pastor.
I think it's so I've never really dealt with that, to be honest. And the circles that I run in believe similar.
Yeah.
Because I probably wouldn't hang out with a lot of people that tell me I can't do things because I'm a woman.
There aren't a lot of people in your life that tell you can't do things, because if they do tell you that, they're not in your life very long.
Exactly. Well, because why would you want those kind of people around you?
No, in general, I wouldn't want people in my life that are telling me I can't do things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't really even think about it until I got older, and I heard there's actually a female pastor, and long story short, she grew up in a church where where they were raised that females couldn't
Yeah.
be pastors, and then it's, well, I don't need to get into that. It's more common in some cultures too,
Yeah.
which is pertinent to
Yes.
that story. Anyways, she's a head pastor of a church now, and this might be a little explicit to say on our podcast, so sorry. But she said she got to the point where she had to decide, if I'm going to get to heaven someday and tell God, like, oh, I didn't do all of these things because I was told that I couldn't because I have a vagina.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're going to tell God? Oh, I was told I couldn't because I'm a female.
Yeah.
So sorry. Like, no, I would rather, if I get there someday and he's like, you weren't supposed to do that. Okay, that's on me. That's on me.
Yeah.
But I just think that
rather impact all of these people for Christ than say, nope, I'm going to sit back and do my own thing and hide in the corner. I'm not going to step out and do the things that I feel God is calling me to do that are good things, right? Whether, again, like your point, whether you were called to do it or not, again, do what you're called to do. But even if you're like, oh, I missed it, let's err on the side of leading a church and impacting people for Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
Versus,
and I think it's like, when people try to use, I mean, people always use the scripture in 2 Timothy, and like you said, we're not trying to get into all that. But if you read the Bible, there are numerous accounts of females that impacted the church and started the church.
Spread the gospel, lead
and
in ministry.
Even before, I just was reading this morning, I'm in Luke currently, and it was talking about Anna, who was a prophet. And this was it's in the same, I think it's in the same chapter in Luke that Jesus was born. So it's not like, you know, even a more modern whatever. This is talking about Anna the prophet that was in the, what do you call it then? Temple?
Sure.
I don't know. I couldn't think of the right word.
I don't know if that's the word you're looking for.
I don't know if it is either. But so if you actually, like, Jesus had women all throughout his ministry. And I think it's, personally, I believe it's one of those things where, again, if you look at the scripture in context, I think that's really important. But then also, I think, to me, feels like a scripture that people have pulled out of context to use for what they want.
Yes.
Which is to keep women suppressed. People use the scriptures to justify slavery.
Yeah, they justified slavery.
So if you really want to find something in the Bible to justify your crappy behavior, you can probably find it.
We literally
but that doesn't mean that it's correct.
Yeah. My read a pamphlet that my grandpa's wife had that was about how white people and black people should not have kids together because the Bible says that you're supposed to reproduce after your own kind. Yes. So a white person should have white kids.
White people and black people are both human.
It's the same kind.
It's the same kind, for the record.
But I'm saying this person, this pamphlet that they had,
used the Bible to justify.
Pulled out a scripture and said, "Hey, look, this means this." Yeah. And I think people pull out a couple individual verses.
Yeah.
That aren't properly in context. But then you can't say that this is we got to apply this to everything. When you look at the Bible and you're like, you look throughout the Bible and God used women all of the time.
All the time.
Even when it was culturally less normal to have a woman in leadership, to have a woman speak for you. Jesus, when he rose from the dead, the first person he showed himself to were women.
Yes.
Women were the first people to go tell anyone that Jesus was risen, right? Yes. If you're trying to even if you're trying to just establish credibility after you rise from the dead, people aren't going to, in that time especially, not going to believe women.
Yeah.
But Jesus used women.
The disciples didn't believe him.
Yeah. First, I don't know, maybe not the first, but one of the first, like what you would consider, depending on how you define missionary, one of the first people to like share Jesus with people was the Samaritan woman at the well. Mm-hmm. She experienced God. She had a conversation with Jesus, and then she went back and told her whole village. And it said that there was all these Samaritans that came to Christ and heard from him and believed on him because she went and got them. Mm-hmm. And she was a Samaritan woman, so she was a different culturally. Jesus shouldn't have been having a conversation with her, but Jesus went out of his way to include those people all the time and use those people to establish heaven on earth, why would he say, okay, but when it comes to this level of leadership,
yeah, well, and that's what
can't.
I feel like people get nitpicky about it because,
Yeah.
okay, Anna says she was a prophet. Well, she wasn't the leader
Yeah.
of the, like, okay, is that, first of all, terms don't always mean the same things
Yeah.
that they did back then that they do now. But also, if you have to nitpick this, what it says so much to say, oh, yes, well, you can do this, but you can't do this, but you can
Yeah.
do that. Like, oh, but we're allowed to talk to women. We're allowed to speak in front of women.
Yeah.
Usually is what they
Yes.
say, but we can't speak
Or on
in front
Mother's
of-
Day, they'll have the pastor's wife.
which don't
preach.
even get me
But that's the
started
thing.
about
People
that.
have different they have different
That's
like
what I'm saying. It
interpretations
doesn't
of
even
like,
make sense.
okay, they can have a leadership position, but they can't speak from the stage, or
Yeah.
they can, you know, there's a lot of children's ministry directors that are women, but they can't have the title of pastor.
Yeah.
Or some people will even say, okay, they can be like an under pastor, associate pastor, or an elder, but not the head pastor of a church. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why would we draw these distinct lines that are so all over the place?
Yeah.
And I'm like, at the end of the day, what is it? Like, are women not able to hear from God for themselves and then speak that out? Like, that's what, if they can do that, if they can hear from God and speak that out, then why can't they be a pastor? Why can't they lead a church? Why can't they? I posted a clip from a sermon that I did a few months back where I mentioned some different women in the Bible that God used. And somebody commented, and one of them was Deborah, the judge in the Old Testament.
Oh, I thought you were saying Deborah commented.
No, Deborah in the Old Testament, I talked about how she was the leader of the nation of Israel during this time. And somebody commented, well, she wasn't a pastor. And I was like, she was the leader of a nation. If God can have a woman lead the nation, and by the way, this was a theocracy. This was a God-led nation. Like, Israel at the time was church. Like, those were the
Yeah.
people of God.
Yep.
So if God can have a woman lead his people and their entire nation in the Old Testament, why would he say, no, you can't lead a small church of 100? Shoot, even if it's a mega church
Yeah.
with thousands of people, it's still smaller than the nation of Israel was
Yeah.
when Deborah was leading them. So,
Yeah.
which,
No, to
yeah.
me, it seems like
Read the story of Deborah and JL. It's a great story, by the way.
I'm a big fan of JL,
Yes.
my girl. You know how people have like the list of like who they want to meet when they get to heaven?
Yeah.
And they're always like, oh, John, oh, Peter. No, JL. That's
Yes.
who I want to talk to.
Should we tell people
was
who
a-
JL
She was
is
a
so that they,
G.
you should go look? I don't know where it is. I forget which
Yeah, I
chapter
don't
it is
know
in
what it is.
Judges.
She drove a stake through a guy's head, so it's pretty cool.
When Deborah was leading, okay, real quick side note, story time.
Mm-hmm.
When Deborah was judge of Israel, there was their enemies. There's always enemies. They're always fighting. There's a lot of fighting in I was say Old Testament, Old World in general. Like,
Yeah, that's all they did.
I was gonna say we're more civilized now. We might not be. Maybe don't kill as much as they did, but he was basically. I'm gonna tell the whole story. Basically, Deborah was like, "I'm gonna go with you," so that Deborah told this guy that the enemy will be delivered through the hand of a woman, which would have been very insulting at the time. And when Deborah tells the guy this, you think she's talking about herself, like, "Oh, I'm gonna come and make sure that," but it's actually not even Deborah. It's this other woman who lures the enemy into her tent, and then while he's sleeping, drives a tent stake through his temples, which is crazy. It's
a boss move right
That's
there.
JL. And so and the only other thing it says about Deborah is she's 2 chapters, but at the end it says like there was peace in the land for 40 years. Like, that's all we know about Deborah. Is that
That's what you got.
she defeated this enemy.
She did what she had to do.
And there was read the Old Testament. There's not a lot of times of peace.
No.
I imagine
No.
in the Old Testament, but Deborah did a good job.
Yeah, I think
Maybe that's
Well,
why
not
there's
to
like
get-
30 Deborahs that I know. I
maybe.
feel like a lot of women, maybe the older generation just above us.
Yeah.
A lot of Deborahs.
Yeah.
A lot of Debbies.
Yeah. No, but I think
Shout out to Debbies. And Little Debbies. When I could eat gluten, Little Debbies were good.
I've never been a big Little Debbie fan. I don't even know what I was saying.
And we should have Little Debbie's. Oh, they're not going to sponsor us now. You just said you don't like them.
And you can't eat them.
And I can't eat them. But if Lil Debbie made a gluten-free snacks or zebra cakes, Lil Debbie, or is that someone else?
I don't know. I grew up in a homemade household. So I didn't
love
eat those
me
things.
some zebra cakes though.
I do like a cosmic brownie. Is that Little Debbie?
I don't remember.
I do.
Oh, cosmic brownies? That's like the worst one.
That's the only one.
Especially if you grew up eating homemade, like your mom's brownies, like so much better than cosmic brownies.
More of a cookie. We're more of a cookie family.
That's true.
In general.
That's true. We were more of an ice cream family. Little off topic. Let us know if you are a brownie family, a cookie family, or an ice cream family. What in the home that you grew up with? What was the dessert of choice? And what is it now? That'd be a good question though. Like, are you still loyal to what you grew up with?
Yeah.
Or is that like your act of rebellion? You turned 18, you're like, I'm never going to eat a homemade cookie again because my mom used to force me to eat homemade chocolate chip cookies.
No, I'm still a cookie person.
Seems like a terrible idea.
I'm a diehard cookie person. I could eat, if I had to choose one dessert, it would be cookies for sure. I'm trying to remember what my thought was.
You do make a pretty good gluten-free cookie, so even I can
Thank
eat.
you.
It's really, I say pretty good. It's really good. Sorry, we're so off topic. Deborah, JL.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Not to get into like modern feminism and whatnot, but I think that part of the reason why it is looked at as such a, I don't know what word I want to use, almost a negative thing from the church and more conservative people is because the church did not embrace women.
Yes.
And allow women to be equals. So women went outside of the church and found their own route to be equals because the world accepted, well, not everybody, but started to accept them more as equals.
But often feminism is considered not a part of the traditional Christianity. I mean,
if you look at like, if you're talking about like what the official definition of the word is, then people will say, oh yeah, okay, we agree with that. But when you think of what people think of when they think of feminism, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if the church and the Christian world would have appreciated women and let women be what God created them to be, outside of just being mothers and secretaries, then I think we could have an entire generation of boss Christian women. Yeah. And instead, they had to look elsewhere.
Well, and in leadership, and then you could start, if you want to have conversations about women's rights and women's reproductive rights, and what does that mean? Well, if the church had not been afraid to
talk about it,
to give women leadership roles, then maybe this conversation would look different in 2025. I was also going to say a pet peeve of mine is when, maybe in general, I'll just say people, but like they think women are secretaries, or like that's what they have to do. Where they're like, because she's a woman, she's better at like planning and organizing. They're better at organizing? Yeah. Oh, I'm like, no, you're just lazy. Like that's an excuse. I think I'm someone who's very good at organizing and planning and scheduling, and I'm a man. Yes. Look at that. Like,
look at that. How crazy.
Some men are just too lazy to prepare their own schedule, and so they'll say, oh, my wife will do it, or but you see that a lot. You see that a lot in churches where it's like, the women do the planning and the organizing
are the
of
assistants,
things, and then the men
are the secretaries
are on stage. And I just think that's stupid, honestly.
Well, yes.
And it's stupid because
you're sexist,
not, but it's stupid because it's not.
But you're not actually
putting
people
using their gifts.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
exactly.
If this person was, I think of our youth pastors. And I'll say their names, Jeff and Sunday Burquest. Yeah. Sunday Burquest was such an anointed speaker. Yeah. Like, if you would have just said, oh, no, you're the youth pastor's wife, so you need to be the one, like, keeping track of Jeff's schedule. What a waste of the God-given abilities that she had. Yeah. And then, honestly, Jeff was really good behind the scenes, like, with the money, with the plans, I mean, he spoke some, too. And I think they were a great example of like a couple that led together. Yeah. Right. But what a waste that would have been if they would have just put Sunday behind a desk and said, hey, keep track of the schedule and answer phones.
Yep.
Like, thank God that we got to hear Sunday and learn from her when we did.
Yeah. Yes. I think how much did we missed out on because we didn't let these women have a voice.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like, well, we don't need to get into it.
I was just talking to somebody, it was a guy actually, but he said like, I don't know, the conversation wasn't really about this, but somehow this got in, and it was like basically telling teenage girls and young women that like the call of God on their life doesn't begin until they're married and have kids. Like that's what a lot of the churches say. They're like, oh yeah, you'll be, you know, and God's calling you to be a mother. It's like, yeah, God might be calling you to do other stuff too. Like, and before you are married and have kids, God still has a plan for your life, and God still wants to do stuff for you.
Yeah. Okay, this might be a little too specific, but there was, you spoke at some chapels for I don't know if you've ever been specific with the school, but there was a senior chapel, and I was in there, and we were praying over all of the seniors.
Okay.
And they had some there was a few of us that were praying over them, and then they had some teachers come up that could also pray over them. Yep. And there was a teacher who, over all of the females, that's who she was praying for, all of her prayers had to do with them being their mothers and their future children and their future families. And I knew some of these girls personally. I'm like, no, like, they're going to college, they have big plans, and not that their futures, maybe they will include being wives and mothers, but like, there's just so much more to our lives than that. And not that that isn't an important role, because it is. And if that's what people feel called to do, then like, shout out to you, because I think that's impressive. But like, they just put us in this little box of like being a wife and a mother. Yeah. And I think, I mean, there's a lot of reasons we don't have kids yet. By choice, for the record, please don't pray for us that we have children, which has happened. Let's talk, since we're going, we probably need to end this. But Christian people, stop praying over people to have kids when you don't know if they want them, because that has happened to us. It has happened to close friends of mine.
Yes.
Mind your business. What was I going to say?
I don't know, but that's a good point.
I don't know. That got me distracted.
No, I think
that came to mind.
Being a wife and mother is a part. If you are a wife and a mother, being a wife and mother is absolutely a part of your calling. And if that's what you're doing, and you're not, if you're staying in the home and raising kids, and that's like, that might be what you're called to do, and not necessarily in the workplace. That's great. That's impressive. Guess what? Part of my calling is to be a good husband. And if we have kids, part of my calling would be to be a good father. Like, and part of hers would be a good wife and mother.
People don't make that
like,
your entire image, your entire call in life.
But your calling, maybe we should do a whole episode on what it means to be called and your calling and things, because that's a whole nother thing. But
I remember what I was gonna say.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just and
then we should wrap it up,
partly joking, partly not. But I do think that part of the reason we haven't had kids yet, again by choice, is because I was very young when we got married, and it was expected immediately. Like, people thought we were gonna have kids. People have been asking since the day we got married when we're having kids. And I just have this like enough of a rebellious streak in me that the more you push me to do something, the more I'm definitely not gonna do it. So
thank you for those of you that have been bothering Jocelyn about having kids since we got married almost 13 years ago.
You're the reason.
But yeah, Jocelyn's one of those people who will not, if you tell her not to do something, she will do it. If you tell her she can't do something, she will
even if it was something I was already going to do, if you tell me to do it, then I'm probably not going to do it. Because I don't want you to think that you're right.
What's the Ron Swanson when he's like, I don't say things that people tell me to say. My wedding took forever because I wouldn't repeat my vows after the priest or something like that. Yeah. I don't remember that part. That's Jocelyn. Yep. All right, let's wrap it up on that. Let's end. Thanks for watching.
Women are great.
Women are great. Specifically this one. Best one there is. All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.